I'm Tanya Hechert. I'm a Futures and Foresight practitioner and a fellow at Center for Sustainability Transitions at Stellenbosch University. This short video deals with one of the tools methods. We use the term interchangeably in chapter 10, which is all about futures analysis. So Three Horizons framework has really taken a lot of the futures and foresight world by storm the last 10 years or so. And there is also an enormous amount of work being done in this space in the SES world. And there are lovely references of this work in chapter 10, where you can see how it's been applied. What it is it's a conceptual model to help us think about how systems change. So about what systems look like now, current assumptions, some emerging changes that are present now, but not dominant, and what possible desired futures could look like when there is systemic change. It's a graphical approach, and I'll show you the framework in a moment. And it's very flexible, and it's used in a number of different ways. And please do, if you're interested in looking at this, please do explore how it's used differently. It's an adaptable tool, it's intuitive, it's a wonderful kind of introduction to futures thinking and systems thinking, and it really helps us to engage in a systematic way with emergent changes. Also, it's very good for working with complexity and recognizing the importance of transformative change and the transition space. So let's take a closer look at the model itself. On the left-hand side here, if you can see my mouse, on the x-axis, sorry, that's the y-axis, it shows us how dominant or prevalent a current system is. So if there's a high degree of strategic fit, a system is very dominant in the present, it indicates present conditions. This is the way things work. This is how decisions are taken, where money flows to. If you think of fossil fuels, which have a long history, so this goes back as well, they are still dominant in the world today. But as we go into the future, this is the x-axis now, and into future time, this timeline is often not specified. It shows us that these present conditions can change. They can and do change. And sometimes they can actually decline quite quickly to tipping points. But at the same time, in the present, we have indications of different futures. So these are weak signals. We've done a lot of work where they're called seeds. These are pockets of the future in the present. They're present now, but they're not dominant. They're marginal, they're niche. They need to grow over time, and they need to grow and increase to be able to, in the top right-hand corner, give us an idea of what a different future could look like. That's the third horizon. So the first horizon, this is where the Three Horizons comes in, is the present conditions. Third horizons, future conditions. Often we work with preferred futures here. And the second horizon, of course, is how you shift from what is dominant now to what we'd like to be dominant in the present. That's the second horizon. So very often the most important conversation is around here in the middle zone, so the transition zone. So if we've got things that need to decline, things that need to grow, what has to happen for that to change? It's often a zone of conflict, of clashes, but also a zone of opportunity. And the interesting conversations are usually here. That's the bit you want to zoom in on. Sometimes if there's time in a workshop situation, we have a conversation around, well, what are essential things that we need to keep from the present dominant system? If it is marginal and niche and not dominant in the present, what are some things we don't want to lose? That in itself is a very interesting conversation. Suffice to say, the transition zone and preferred future, and how that connects to what we are seeing already happening, are really the main reasons for using this in a setting. So let's just give you an idea of what this looks like. This is a very small, fairly simplistic example, but here you can see a preferred future. Here you can see signs of this emerging future in the present now. You can see the dominant existing future, it's declining. There's a little bit of stuff we want to keep here. And of course, these green bits immediately, what needs to change, what needs to happen. And that's often the source of the beginning of kind of some sort of strategic thinking around, if these are the things that need to happen in the transition zone, what is it that we can do to make them happen? So often very strategic conversations. This is an example using an online platform. Because of COVID, a lot of this work has shifted online. So again, here you can see exactly the same principle in play. The orange sticker, of course, saying, well, are there any inflection points? Are there any tipping points? And a really nice example of a tipping point in this type of thinking is always energy subsidies. So if you think of the energy system, which is transitioning from a fossil fuel system, first horizon, to renewable energy, third horizon, something like switching subsidies, which there's still trillions of dollars of all over the world, from fossil fuel to renewable energy, would be an inflection point. You know, it would cause this first horizon to decline very steeply and this third horizon to grow. But of course, renewable energies, wind turbines and solar panels are not pockets of the future in the present. You know, this is more the sort of way out stuff, the hydrogen transport systems, fusion technology, that kind of thing. So that is Three Horizons. This final slide just covers very quickly how to do it in a step-by-step sort of top line instructions. You can look at the slide yourself offline. Thank you very much. Have a look at the case study in chapter 10. It's a great example of how Three Horizons is used and applied. It was also used as a kind of a backcasting tool to develop pathways. So if we've got a vision of a preferred future using Three Horizons, what are the pathways connecting the present to the future, and also working backwards? If this is the future, what are the things that need to have happened and to have been done to get there? So the steps, I've talked about them. You can have a look at the slides yourself. Absolutely use it, take part if you're ever offered to be part of a workshop like this, and enjoy.